Welcome back to the 9. Most Bay Area schools are out for the summer now, and many teens are experiencing a rite of passage and starting their summer jobs. The nonprofit group Sensibility teaches teens how to figure out their personal finances and manage their money. Excited to welcome Roy Paul, Executive Director of Sensibility, to the 9 this morning. Thanks for being here.
I'm so happy to be here.
First of all, let's point out the fact that most children say their parents don't talk to them about money. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that is a stinging statistic because a lot of parents are struggling themselves. So when you think of the fact that we have a wealth disparity in this country, most people at the bottom of that sector aren't making minimum wage. And so to have that conversation with their kids when they're trying to figure out how to make ends meet is difficult.
And so they're not getting it home. I don't think they're getting it at school either.
No.
I remember one econ class in high school. It was about, the tax structure of the United States, nothing personal.
Sure. And that's part of the problem because the legislators in each state has the authority, if you will, to make these laws happen in their state. So they can mandate that school districts across the country cover these types of topics. We're getting smarter, I think, around the country, recognizing that with the huge debt that people are taking when they go to college, that we need to start earlier with teaching young people the fundamentals of personal finance.
How early should we start?
Yeah, I say as early as possible. If you're having conversations with your kids about money, and it may not be strict conversations like this is $1, this is $5, but when you're saying, here, Johnny, take this $1 and go buy an ice cream cone, that's a conversation about money, and that's a great opportunity to say, this is $1 for the ice cream cone. Eventually, it's going to get $10 or $20 for something else, but starting off small is the best way to have those conversations.
When I was very lucky to have my 2 little boys with me when I was grocery shopping or even just at Target, they'd ask for something, of course, and I'd say, that's a want, not a need.
Exactly.
Is that a good tactic to introduce very early on?
Absolutely, and at Sensibility, we teach the 50-30-20 rule. It's about your needs, your wants, and the things that you have to repay back, like saving and paying yourself first, because we believe in that. We don't save very well in this country. And I think the example that you pose is a perfect opportunity to tell young people, you may want a $300 pair of sneakers, but you may not need a $300 pair of sneakers.
So let's talk about those teens who are striking out and getting their first summer job. Should mom or dad say, you need to save 20% of this, or really is that money for the child to learn with?
Yeah, 20% absolutely to save. It's never too early to start the saving conversation because when they get older, they're going to have a lot more money and you want them to be able to save that as well. But I think what's critically important is the first time your child gets a job of any kind, whether they're mowing lawns, whether they're getting a summer youth employment job, is take them to the bank and open up a savings account. Sort of like taking them to vote with you for the first time. It's a great rite of passage to say, this is how a bank works and this is how it can benefit you. A lot of our young people, because we service a lot of low-income communities, their idea of a financial institution is a check cashing place because that's where they go with their parents to cash their check. And so taking them to a bank, having them have faith and still in a financial institution that's credible, that's what we want.
My parents took me to make my first deposit when I was about $70. I was maybe 7 years old. When I saw that I got, let's say, $1.50 interest, I thought, that's free money, and I was hooked.
And compound interest, right? The rule that your money will work for you over time. That's something we want because when it comes to 401k planning, which is something teenagers aren't thinking about, but that is the idea that over a period of time, you put your money in a safe place. When you get older, you're going to get that back.
Right. Now let's talk on the very young set. We have 2 little boys. We give them allowances. And aside from savings, we let them spend whatever they want on, we let them buy the umpteenth Lego set. It makes me cringe. But I think they learn more from their purchases than they do their saving in some way.
Right. All choices have consequences, right? So it's important to note that even when you're saving, it's good to spend, but also know that depending on what you spend that money on, it may or may not have a good or negative effect on what you're going to be doing in the future.
Okay. One piece of advice for parents out there who are afraid to sort of crack the egg and talk about money. How's a good way to get into it?
Yeah, I think the best way is if you don't know, ask, right? We all may not have the answers to every question, but we go to banks, we walk past them every day, we file our taxes every year. Those tax preparers have a wealth of knowledge. If you don't know, ask.
Okay, very good. Roy Paul of Sensibility. Good advice.
Thank you.
Perfect timing. Thanks.